Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Welcome to Around the Turnbuckle. I'm Big Al. That guy right there is Professor Keith, who is the voice of both 3WA and SWO. And with us tonight is superfan David Motorman, also an SWO Hall of Famer. And joining us is AXW and well-known technical, the guys all over the place, man. It is Jeff Christian. What's up, guys?
Hey, how we doing?
We're doing great. And speaking of Jeff Christian, man,
hello.
We're gonna talk about AXW for just a second before we dive into WWE. I know people are tuning in to have us talk about Triple H's WWE, and that's what we're doing tonight, the state. But let's talk a little AXW on September the 14th. Education and Rebellion, doors open 4:45. AXW Recharge starting at 5 p.m. streaming live on YouTube /at AX Wrestling, AXW, and then R with the rest of the word. So AXW RESTLING. At the Oryxburg Veterans Community Memorial Hall in Oryxburg, PA, featuring, as seen on Ring of Honor, the Ace of Space Academy, LSG, Colton Charles, and GKM. LSG versus Channing Thomas, and other matches include Gabby Forza versus Nahir Robles, Joe Clean versus TJ Crawford, and Tony Deppen versus Justin Waller, and the AXW Heritage Championship Tournament. Jeff, how do you feel about all that, man, and how you been?
Well, Leo Sparrow versus the Bloodlines Lance Anawahi in that championship tournament, that's not even a final. That's not even the finals in the tournament. This is how good that tournament is stacked. Like, these guys are ridiculously talented. Mm-hmm. So I just want to take a moment to say, you know, if that's not the final in the tournament, think of how deep this tournament is.
Awesome. That's
right?
Awesome.
Yeah, truth.
And so that is September the 14th. And then you also got something going on before that. So next Sunday on the 8th, you have Phantom 6. And it's all in together. Tickets are just $10 for that event, but all proceeds go to suicide prevention. So, I mean, it's a great cause. It is at the Country Club Brewing in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Matches start at 11:30 a.m. Smash and Burn, Ricky Price and Junie Underwood. The TNA Tag Team Champions, ABC, Ace Austin and Chris Bay. Philly Mike. Marcus Mathers, Tommy Vex, among others. Talk about that event and what your involvement is there, Jeff.
Wow. So honestly, I'm probably going to do who knows what at that event. We haven't, finalized it or anything, but when I heard about it and the cause that we're trying to help out here, it means a lot to me. It should mean a lot to a lot of people, really, with the way suicide can and has affected our industry. Not just talking about you referenced the Von Erichs, right? How many that happened to. Today marks, I believe, 3 years since we lost Daphne.
Yeah.
It's a lot. The business is full of that kind of thing. And if we can take some steps at any level to promote awareness of it, to try to get people to find the help that they might need to keep going. Remember, every one of you are important. So the best thing we can do, look, I've been there. I don't know that I necessarily went to the lengths of what all am I going to do for that. But the thoughts crossed my mind quite a number of times at some point in my life. And I got some help. I haven't been very secretive about that. Like I've thrown that out there. I've talked about it on our show before. And man, right now I'm living my best life, man. I got through all that. I'm happy. I'm helping people. A show like this is very important to a lot of people, and I'm just really excited and honored to just be whatever small part I can play in Phantom 6 and to help people. This is going to be a great show. It's actually a 2-part show, so we're going to have some matches starting at 11:30. once those segments end, we're gonna do. There's gonna be some music. It's gonna be a real like happy party-ish vibe from
Awesome.
everything I can understand. And then after some concerts and stuff, we're gonna have some more matches for you.
Love
So
that. So you got wrestling and wrestling, sandwiching some music going on in between there. That's a great event, man. And kudos to Dylan and everybody involved there. Phantom 6, all in together. Tickets are just $10, guys. A great charity event there on Sunday, September the 8th in Bethlehem, PA, man. Most of the people that watch this program are within a stone's throw of Bethlehem. So
Very short drive for me.
very short drive. There you go. So
that's why I'm going to bug Dylan again this week and be like,
kudos
I
to you,
will
Jeff.
pop the popcorn. Let me do something.
yeah, I mean, here's what I'll say, Professor. Come on out. Whether you were assigned a role or whatever, come on out. And I'm sure if Dylan can find something for you, if we can find something for you, that'd be great. But if we can't, look, it's still an important event.
Absolutely.
Let's go out. Let's have some fun. Let's talk to people. Let's save some lives.
Yeah,
Awesome.
It's a great cause. Anything
Love
I can do to help.
And we got some comments here. Chris Van is here as always. We love your support, Chris and David, big SWO fan as well. David Hilt, and guys, this show here normally is dedicated to the independent scene, and as Jeff talked about, a lot of the AXW stuff and the Phantom 6 stuff and the stuff that me and the Professor are involved in, and the shows that David attend on a regular basis are all local here in Pennsylvania, and we always have a great time at all those shows, and everybody has, whether it's for charity or not, everybody usually has a great time. But often we drift away from, and Keith and I do this a lot, we drift away from talking about mainstream. We drift away from talking about wrestling that's on TV. Jeff had mentioned earlier he was watching Bash at Berlin. Keith also was in the middle of watching Bash at Berlin. So we all in this room still pay attention to WWE. We might not watch every single match, or we might not watch every minute of Raw, but we do pay attention to WWE and AEW and TNA and other things too. But right now, tonight, we're going to talk about the differences between Triple H's WWE and his father-in-law's. And so, we'll go around the room and I'll ask a question. I'll start with Keith, and I'll go to Jeff, and I'll go to David, and we'll work our way around counterclockwise on everybody's television set. And we will talk about several subjects here, and Keith and I went over them before the show. That's the advantage we have over David and Jeff. But but I'll throw them up here for the panel here, but also anybody watching, if you guys have comments or questions concerning each one of these questions as I bring them up, man, fire them to me in a comment. For those of you watching live, share this out right now. Like, hit that share button and send it out to your Facebook feeds, your Instagram feeds, your Twitter feeds, because we'd like to have as much participation in this as possible. Not just the four of us talking shop here, because yes, we are all in one way or another involved in the business as far as the independent scene goes here in PA, but by no means are none of us experts on this. So if you guys have an opinion to share, please do it. Send us your opinion. So the first question I pose to the room is, what is the biggest difference, in your opinion? Biggest difference is, because it could be plural, in your opinion, between Vince McMahon's WWE and Triple H's. Keith, I'll start with you, bud.
First of all, it's more of a sports-based presentation. I think you notice it in the commentary, you notice it in the way it's shot, you notice it in the way guys are working. We've gotten away from the idea of the variety show. Let's go try to win an Emmy. Let's just basically almost be ashamed that there's a ring and that everything has to end in a wrestling match. I think we're back to the wrestling is the point. Everything is to garnish that, to get us to that point where it's two or more people in a ring fighting over, a title, honor, trying to get to a title, settling personal issues. We're really back to basics in a lot of ways, and it's a breath of fresh air. And I have to think back to, the early 2000s, it didn't happen probably as quickly as Terry Funk thought, but I remember watching a shoot interview in the early 2000s, kind of at the end of the Attitude Era, that Terry Funk had done, and they asked Terry Funk, like, well, what do you think the next evolution of a business is? And he said, I think it goes back. I think we pull away from all of the stunts and stuff that's been going on the last few years, and we go back to being more about meat and potatoes, pro wrestling. And I think that's where we're getting to. That's certainly what Triple H is doing. And I think he's building more of the card where I feel like more of the card, you're excited about everything that's on a PLA and whatnot. And it's not just, well, the main event and whatever we thought of that day to throw on. Everything matters. Everything has a reason. And the audience is engaged with all of it.
Awesome answer. Jeff, you're up, buddy. What's the biggest differences, in your opinion, between Vince and Triple H's WWE?
The first thing I would start by saying is having watched the WWE 80s, 90s, 2000s, there's a lot of like cartoonish stuff going on, like Keith mentioned. Now it's a lot more like, while I loved Duke the Dumpster Drosy, Doink the Clown, all those things. By the way, Duke, tremendous dude. Got a chance to meet him, hung out with him.
Cool,
good time. But so in no way am I ripping that. But if the guy's a professional wrestler, why does he need a 9 to 5? Or like, I mean, that never made sense to me. And now with the Triple H presentation, they're professional wrestlers. This is what they do. They don't like each other, and that we're also not afraid now to okay, yes, this particular storyline, the way it's played out or whatever, it is very easy to see that this person or that person should win or whatever, and that's exactly what happens. And a lot of fans complain, oh, well, that was so predictable, and why didn't they go another way? Sometimes what makes the most sense, and let me tell you something, I don't know if Mean Mark is watching or not, but one of the things Mean Mark Bass taught me was make it make sense. Right? And as long as it makes sense, even if it's the obvious decision, at least it makes sense. Like, criticize it all you want, but if it didn't make sense, it wouldn't be happening. If there wasn't more to it, if they hadn't figured out, okay, and then where do we go from here, they wouldn't be presenting. The other thing too is the Easter eggs that you notice that the Triple H regime has kind of put in there. Like, it could be something as simple as a specific guy walking backstage, walking into a room, and you don't really notice it until you realize later, oh, that's what that was about. Or, a small marking somewhere or something, just so many little things that you have to pay attention to every detail. Everything matters.
Dave, what is the biggest differences, in your opinion, between Vince and Triple H's WWE?
I have to agree with Keith and Jeff. I mean, basically, me, I'm a big fan of the storytelling, and I think, we're back to that, and we're back to professional wrestling as opposed to the sports entertainment aspect of it. I mean, we have believable stories. I mean, a lot of times, like I said, if it makes sense, the story's going to come out at one end, but you don't always know what's going to happen, and it gives fans like us an opportunity to sit around and discuss, well, hey, what's going to happen next, And the other thing is, you don't have that quick, well, we got to get this story done in like 60 minutes or whatever. We got ongoing stories that's going to drag out for months, and we don't know what the outcome is going to be. I mean, it keeps your interest again, and I really think that's the big difference. Keeps your interest.
So it's interesting that all of you had positive takes on that, whereas Chris Vant wants to come up here and say matches are too predictable now. Too many people interfering in matches now to determine the outcome. It's funny that comes from him, and the reason why I say that is because Chris Vant loved, and I'm going to put loved in capital letters, SummerSlam. All right, the day after SummerSlam, he is texting me, telling me how great SummerSlam was. that this match was great, and that match was great, and this match was great, and that match was great. But yet he comes on here and he says matches are too predictable. Of course, he probably, at this point, everybody in this room is smart enough to know pretty much what we think WWE is going to do. And, but there's a level of predictability, right? Like every once in a while they hit you with a left hand. The world probably thought Rhea Ripley was going to beat Liv Morgan and get her championship back. That didn't happen, but it was the way they did it to keep us engaged in that story. And sometimes Chris gets on here and he does this. He's very critical of WWE, but that doesn't stop him from watching the PLEs, and then he watches them and says, actually, that was pretty damn good. So maybe they know what they're doing. Keith, what do you think?
Look, sometimes the butler did it. I always say this, like at the end of the day, any creative writing and whatnot, sometimes it's just as simple as if you think the butler did it, yeah, the butler fucking did it. It's nice to get the idea of like, oh, the butler's a red herring, and then you get to the last page and it's like, no, this person fucking did it. And then it's like, oh, okay, I see how it looked like the butler did it, but this person actually could have equally done it, and you've explained it, and ooh, good job. And that's fun when you can do that. You cannot do that 110% of the time, especially not in our medium of storytelling. Sometimes you just have to know that if it's right for Damian Priest to win the match and beat the guy clean and keep his title, and we can all see it 100 miles away, doesn't matter. That's the right thing to do, so you do it. And you just try to make getting there as entertaining as possible. And I think what happens a lot of times with folks that are really plugged in on the internet and stuff like that, and it's something I've learned in the, almost 3 years now that I've been lucky enough to be in the business and be on the other side of the curtain now, I see fans doing it so much, and it's such a different world when you're talking to the people that are actually trying to put this together and seeing how much hard work goes into it. And that's not to say you can't have an opinion. You absolutely can have an opinion and should have an opinion, but it is subjective. What you don't like might make 50 other people think that's the greatest thing I ever watched. Sometimes you're going to hit a home run. Sometimes you're going to hit a base hit. And I think right now they're hitting a lot of base hits, and occasionally they're getting the home runs. And realistically, that's kind of how it's supposed to work, right? Not everything can be WrestleMania or your biggest show or your greatest show ever, but I don't feel like it's too predictable. I think that's one of the things Triple H has done really well too, is that they've been good about setting things up and then being able to pull those curveballs and being able to say, oh, you thought I was going here, or maybe you do get to that place you thought you were getting to, but then they have something in there that you didn't see coming, and it makes it even better. And it's like, oh, I predicted that guy was going to win, but I didn't predict how he was going to win, or I didn't predict that he would win, and then his partner would come out and slap him in the face and be like, I'm next. Like, whoa, okay, I'm with you. And I don't see this about the interference. The interference at SummerSlam was all justifiable, built to interference.
Right, yes.
I've watched 2 matches so far, Bash and Berlin, clean finishes in both. No interference. Nobody ran in, so I don't know what. If you're talking about television, to me, television is a different animal.
Right, Raw and SmackDown, yeah. Right.
Yeah,
That's
like it does feed into the PLEs and all that, but I think television has to be judged differently than when you're judging a PLE.
Yep. Dave, did you know who that masked man was? Were you able to predict that beforehand in SWO?
I was. Yes.
So that was he on your radar? I mean, did you have a list, or was it definitely him no matter what?
I was about 80% sure that's who it was. I think I told Professor Keith.
But did you still have a reaction? Did you still have, my wife's over here going, I knew. Did you still have a reaction to it though, even though you were pretty sure?
No, I mean, I thought it was well played out. I mean, the way they had, the winning the championship, at the beginning, he's like the big hero, and it was like
he called him on commentary. He called him the hero we need on commentary. He said.
And then I turned the damn thing off, and I'm like, Tommy, we need to know where the exits are just in case. This place is going to be mad.
You guys, if you guys have not seen that match, Jeff and David on YouTube, You need to watch that match where it's hair versus mask, Jeff. So it's Kimberly Spirit versus the Mask Man, and if the Mask Man loses, he has to demask. Okay, the Masked Man was revealed to be Benny Slater. Benny Slater had earlier that night won the Uprising Championship, so the fans were going berserk when he won that because he was obviously a well-loved face, and he won the ladder match for that vacant championship. Keith called him the hero that we need in SWO. Later on, when the mask was ripped off, he's like, "You son of a bitch! You got to hear it. I can't do it justice. You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch!" Like he's yelling at, like I can hear him in the building, and I'm like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" Like he was legit angry, and he was trying to convey what the fans who just were cheering for this guy would feel, and it was really good. It was awesome.
Isn't that the
Working.
beauty? Isn't that the beauty of the business, though?
Yeah,
To be able to make us feel what we're feeling in those moments.
Yeah,
actually
and I'm
enjoyed
sure
that.
you do it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I enjoyed that match so much. I actually sent that around to some non-wrestling fans because of the heat and everything and the quality of the match. And I mean,
It was
even
awesome.
if you're not a wrestling fan, you could feel the emotion there behind it. I thought it was very well done.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, man. Next question, guys. What is the biggest difference? Oh no, we did that already. Sorry. Is there a current NXT star that looks like they're ready for the main roster, and vice versa? Is there WWE stars that could use some time back in NXT? I open that to Keith.
Current NXT, there's a few, but the one that jumps off the page to me, the North American champion. I'm trying to remember his name, and I know I'm going to garble it if I try to say it.
Obafemi.
Obafemi. He looks like money all day. He looks like he's ready. He's about ready to go, but at the same time, do not bring him up until you have like that perfect idea for him and you're ready to like smash him over, because if you do anything less than that, you're going to do him a disservice. He is so ready to go. He is so money. It's insane. I mean, obviously Carmelo's ready. Carmelo's been ready, but I mean, that's the other problem they're kind of having right now is you have all these people that are ready, but I really feel like on the main roster, you don't have a lot of spots necessarily
Right.
for them right now, which is actually a great thing to have that kind of embarrassment of riches. And with everything you're trying to do with NXT is now on broadcast. It's going to the CW. They, I'm sure, paid a pretty penny for it. So at the same token, the idea of like, oh, we're just going to rip everybody out of NXT and, rebuild it. And it's like, yeah, I don't think the CW is going to like it if that's going to be your plan going forward. Of like, wait a minute, we paid for this, and you're taking all the stars out of it, and you get it. Don't worry, we'll build more. Yeah, what do we do in the meantime? No.
All right, Jeff. Same question, buddy.
So I just want to throw this out there. Obafemi reminds me a whole lot of O'Shea Edwards, the AXW champion, and every time I see Oba, I want to call him O'Shea. I don't know, So shout out to the AXW champion O'Shea Edwards, who really manipulated our emotions a couple months back by absolutely destroying Matt Quay in a championship match.
Wow.
But that being said, Carmelo Hayes is currently wrestling on SmackDown, and his series that he's doing with Andrade is dynamite wrestling.
Sure.
Must-see wrestling, which if you watch either of those two guys at any point in their careers, you know that putting them in the ring together is going to be magic, right? The problem is nobody knows what to do with Carmelo right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that, Keith, your concern with Oba is absolutely valid. Didn't they do that to Karrion Kross?
Yeah.
Right? Like they brought him up before they had really any idea. Yep. And as much as I love the guy, like I don't know that I have, as a fan, a reason to care that much about Final Testament.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying, give me a reason, right? But as far as who on NXT is ready other than Oba, I think two or three jump to mind. First of all, Trick Williams.
Sure.
The other one is Roxanne Perez.
Sure.
But again, just with both of them, you got to make sure you're fitting them in the right spot. Like I could see Roxy doing a lot of stuff similar to what they did with Paige when they first brought her up. Right? Like that would make sense to me, but you got to fit it in just right. And the other one, I don't want to say his name because he might show up. But would it be that terrible if he appeared? Right? Like I mean, if it works for us, right?
Are you talking about Joe Hendry?
I am.
You stole my answer. All right, David, same question. Same question, buddy.
I'm actually probably going to have to take a pass on that one because I don't really watch a lot of that. However, I do.
That's fine.
But I do have to say that I did see an interview that was done with some of his students, with Shawn Michaels and stuff, the job he's doing with them, and I do appreciate that. And again, the way the whole thing, comes, past me, it's great to see having different options out there and a good training, ground like that for, the WWE.
Fucking DX is in charge of WWE. It still blows my mind.
DX is totally in charge of WWE.
Fucking DX is in charge of WWE at this point, basically.
Who would have thought, back in the day, right? DX would be running the show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as far as guys I think are ready for the main roster, the first thing that pops in my head is Ethan Page. I think Ethan Page is great. I love his work. I love his promo work. I love his wrestling matches. I've been watching him a lot lately since he came to NXT. I'm with Jeff. I would love some Joe Hendry. I think Joe Hendry would probably work good as a surprise Royal Rumble guy. Like that would work for him as a debut. So like keep him in NXT and TNA kind of floating around down there to the end of the year. And then boom, we're off and running with him and like the Royal Rumble. I'm not saying he's going to win the Royal Rumble, but I'm saying I'm saying as a surprise entrant, and have a good showing there.
Yeah. Maybe let him eliminate a couple people and then
have a good showing.
Kind of like, oops, he's out.
As far as the other question of WWE guys that need some NXT time, what are we doing with the Authors of Pain? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Final Testament, right?
Yeah, I think.
I don't understand why they're there and why is Paul Ellering there, and it's kind of a shame.
They probably need to go back to NXT, and or take a few months off and then go back to NXT and really be like smashed over, like rethink this.
Right. I mean,
they were great in NXT.
That's what I'm saying.
The tag team division, the tag team division needs some
help.
So
the look is great, and the presentation in NXT is great. I mean, look at them, and it reminds me of, can't remember the ones Harry liked that were hugely over.
The Ascension.
Yes, the Ascension, where they were great in NXT, and then they they got put on the main roster, and they floundered because it just didn't work.
Doesn't it feel like they're just trying to find
anybody care to comment on that?
No, they don't. I'll leave it there. No, they don't.
No. What he just did on AEW this past Wednesday. Let's go with that story.
I like that.
With all the rumors that are going around on who else is starting to be involved with that company.
They're doing something different with him. I'm tired of the same old Moxley and the same old Moxley matches, but if they're gonna do something different with him, like this story that they're gonna begin now, what he said to Tony Schiavone, yes.
You know what it gives me? What it makes me think of?
What's that?
The NWO storyline.
Okay.
The very beginning, without Scott Hall jumping the rail and throwing a bunch of
right. I get what you're saying. Like the intrigue of it all. It's like, okay, what does he mean by that? They're trying to. I know it sounds a little WWE-ish, but at the same time, I mean, that's what gets people to watch. So I mean, if I'm going to tune into Dynamite next week to see what did, or at least at the very least, go online to their YouTube stuff and their clips and see and look up when Jon Moxley and see what Jon Moxley has to say next to see the continuation of that storyline. Because right now, there's not a whole lot of AEW stuff that's making me tune in every Wednesday. But that's
a lot of people having that problem.
but that's an interesting thing that, is like, okay, what does he mean by that? And all the rumors, like you said, Jeff, that's something that could be something if they do it right.
One thing you guys are mentioning about AEW, I must say that I'm a big fan of Camille being in the AEW because I'm a big fan of hers from the NWA days.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely, man.
People get opportunities that deserve it.
Absolutely, man. We always love to see that. Okay, next question, guys. I'm gonna.
Well, let me throw one more thing out there real quick.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
AEW, WWE, MLW. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're a wrestling fan, find what you like and just enjoy professional wrestling.
Yes.
There's no need for that tribal mentality. There's no need for that tribal mentality at WWE versus AEW or whatever.
Yeah.
Find what you like, enjoy it.
Exactly.
And just because I have an opinion on AEW versus WWE versus whoever, your opinion can absolutely 100% be different, and that's what makes our business great.
Do you hear that, Alan?
Monopolies are
hear
bad.
What he just said?
There's something for everybody.
Stop with the tribalism, Alan. And you know who I'm talking to, not me, my son.
Monopolies are bad. We had a monopoly for almost 20 years. TNA tried to break through, Ring of Honor tried to break through, but effectively we had a monopoly for almost 20 years. And monopolies are bad because only so many people are going to get an opportunity. Then only one style is going to be what's out there, and it's going to stagnate, and it's bad for all of us. Yep. We need WWE to do well, obviously, because that is the train that everybody pays attention to. When they're hot, all the rest of us benefit from it. But we also need places other than WWE. General. Yeah. If WWE's hot, it's going to help the rest of us, and it's going to trickle down. It's been proven in the past that this is how it works. But we also need those other not WWE companies that are, either on that level or maybe just below that level, where more guys can be like, hey, I can go quit my shoot job and I can do this full time.
For a living.
Yeah, because I don't think there's anybody involved anywhere in any aspect of this business that wouldn't tell you if they got a call and they could tell their shoot job to shove it and do this full time.
I know you would, Professor.
Oh God, I've told him already. I get that phone call, I'm gonna be like one of those Looney Tunes dust clouds. I'm gonna be out of here so damn fast. And that dust cloud outline, like, see ya, fuckers.
Yeah, you'll see like a cloud where he used to be, like right in the screen there.
Cloud that was the professor.
Unbelievable. All right. Do you have constructive criticisms on the job that Triple H is doing, Keith?
And I mean, what I've watched, because obviously I'm not religiously watching it. I'm not watching as much as I used to, in part because what happens is I'm not home a lot of the time on wrestling nights now. And then I come back and it's like I start catching up on different things. And then it's like, yeah, I know I should go watch that, but I can't find 3 hours or whatever. But I mean, when I do sit down and watch stuff, like I'm still watching the PLEs and things like that. And I mean, I'm enjoying it. Honestly, as a fan, I'm enjoying it. And you look at their business numbers, they're on fire with all their numbers right now. Everything looks good. I feel like they're building people and they're addressing all the criticisms, the constructive criticisms.
Uh-oh. Jeff, you still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, we lost Keith for a second, so I don't know what happened there. There are storms in New Jersey. Keith is in New Jersey. I have friends and family who are in New Jersey. There are passing thunderstorms coming through, so that might have caused his stop there. But Jeff, go ahead with that answer. Do you have constructive criticisms for Triple H?
No, I really can't think of a whole lot. I mean, the biggest thing that I think would be out there, which we already kind of talked about for so long, is that was so obvious. It's too predictable. But again, if it makes sense, then it's the right thing to do.
Right.
That might be the only thing. Like, I think some other people might be like, oh my God, this storyline's taking forever to play out. Like, Roman was champion for how long?
But it paid off, didn't it?
Absolutely. Dude, I can remember WrestleMania 39. I was at a friend's house. when Roman beat Cody, and I had some of my friends throwing their beer cans at their TV and swearing they would never watch wrestling again because this was way wrong decision, right?
Yes.
And I thought I was like that. I was like that for like a day, and then I started going, oh, I could see where we go from here, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you get upset at the long-term storytelling.
Right.
But didn't a whole lot of NXT fans pop when Dexter Lumis returned to NXT a while back and helped Indy Hartwell win her women's championship?
Yep.
And we're talking, that's what, 2 years difference?
Right.
Right? Like long-term storytelling makes sense. Dom looks a lot like his other dad right now. You tell me that ain't long-term storytelling?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the only things, and they're not constructive criticisms in like a bad way.
Yeah.
But just in a way that some fans, it's not what they're used to, it's not what they expect.
Yeah.
And when we've gotten to the point where we're so used to being swerved as fans that when we expect it and we don't get it, and we go, well, that's what I thought would have happened, but I'm disappointed that it did. Like, again, it made sense.
So Christopher says that he likes the expansion of events in different countries. I do too. I don't want WrestleMania to be overseas all the time because selfishly I'd like to go to WrestleMania. I went to WrestleMania 40 and I really liked it. And WrestleMania
wasn't it great?
And WrestleMania 41 is supposed to be in Vegas, and I've never been to Vegas, so I'm trying to get me and Keith to go to Vegas. We'll see about that. But in the meantime, I love these PLEs like Bash in Berlin, like Clash at the Castle, being overseas, and you see how the crowds are like, they take over the show, right? I mean, it's amazing. The European crowds, how they get. I mean, even down in Australia when they had that one event, Elimination Chamber or whatever it was, down in Australia with Rhea Ripley and all that. So yeah, I love the overseas stuff too, man. Definitely a big deal there. Dave, do you have constructive criticisms on Triple H's job?
I actually have to agree with the other two gentlemen. I can't really think of anything, offhand. I think a lot of that may just come down to being so excited that, we're seeing a different form of product, So, I mean, I'm sure there may be some in the future, but I can't think of anything offhand. I mean, I'm kind of pleased with what he's doing. I mean, it's a great improvement.
Yeah, absolutely. Keith, are you with us there, bud?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that, guys. The charger kind of came unplugged from my computer, and I didn't notice it until it just decided, like, nah, you're done for right now. So I'm just going to do the phone. The phone is pretty charged. If it looks like I have enough computer charge while we're doing this, I may come back on. Otherwise, we're just going to do the bubble.
Okay. My constructive criticisms on Triple H's job is, if anything, like, it's really hard to criticize what's working, right? Like, I mean, it's really, so if I'm playing like devil's advocate, it's kind of like, in my shoot job, if I need to give constructive criticism to a distributor in my district for Little Debbie, and he's perfect, right? He takes good care of his customers. He gets good marks from his retailers. Like, everybody has good, all these good things to say about him. So I need to try to find that one needs improvement thing. With Triple H, it's hard to find that. If anything, on the far end of the spectrum, I might say maybe he tries to do too much. You know what I mean? Have too much going on. He has a lot of good things going on, but like every once in a while, like if you watch Raw, there's like a match in the middle of it, and you're like, well, why is this here? Who cares, right? And that goes to when it goes to Netflix. I'm hoping they cut Raw down to 2 hours. I doubt highly that's going to happen, but at the same time, I'm hopeful that it might someday.
I think they really might, because the 3-hour Raw is something that USA wants. WWE doesn't want it. That was all about the ratings and everything else. Mm-hmm. I think Netflix is probably going to look at it in terms of, we're paying you for to provide us the show and to provide us the best show that you think you can provide us. I
Yeah.
don't feel like Netflix is as worried about hours of content or anything like that. I feel like what they want is they want WWE. They want that destination programming that the audience will show up for. And unless the audience rebels and the audience says, like, no, I want 3 hours no matter what, which I don't know who that person would be that wants a 3 hour Raw. I'm sure they exist. God bless you. More power to you. But I'm not that guy. I am good with my TV wrestling ending in 2 hours. And when you're going to do a pay-per-view or something like that, you can go 3 hours for me. But after that, I turn into a pumpkin Cinderella and I'm kind of done.
Okay. All right. So
Hey, you're
last
talking to
question.
a guy that has over 300 hours of other wrestling on his DVR.
Oh,
So 3 hours every week.
Like I said, I'm honest to God not saying that to be a prick. You know, God
Hold it,
bless you. You want it? That's what you want to do, man. You know I love you. You do you. You know, I'm just a different animal.
I get it. And
All
the
right.
reason there's 300 hours on my DVR is so I don't have enough time to watch it all. But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
gonna stay there
but
until
you'll
I
get to it.
get
But
through
you'll
it
get
all.
to it. You'll get to it eventually, though, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'll get
I-
through it all. Plus, I get to fast forward all the ad breaks.
Right.
So,
Exactly. All
shortens it
right.
down a little bit.
Yeah, you're kind of Jim Cornette in it there, right? You know, like he watches what he wants to watch and skips the rest. All right, so the last question we got up here for a panel for debate is there anything happening in WWE right now, storyline wise, that you feel really isn't getting over with the fans, and should it be changed or deleted, Jeff?
Final Testament versus New Day stuff.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. I agree with that 100%. And I
Me
mean,
too.
should it be changed up or should it be deleted? I mean, should they just scrap that idea and go and move on?
I think you gotta almost scrap it unless you've got plans to somehow like inject that whole thing with some ridiculous amount of energy. And the
Okay.
only way I could see that happening is Big E coming back in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I
You
think they should
know,
sign the. I think they should sign the Ultimate Mario, Ultimate Wario.
Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm
But
kidding.
would that change it at all?
I would get excited. I'm sorry, but
I mean, Big E might generate something in that, like, you know, but that's the biggest one, I think.
okay.
Because I feel with all due respect to New Day, but I feel like New Day is kind of stale too. It's really a problem. Like
Oh, it has been. I think for a
Final
while.
Testament's not working, and New Day really is kind of stale and needs something. So it just feels like you put two acts together that were already kind of on a downswing, and you're just letting them flounder and fail in front of everybody.
You think they're leaning towards it? I mean, it looks like they're leaning towards an Xavier Woods heel turn. I mean, will you care about that?
I think people will care about that. I think it's a thing you kind of almost have to do. You know, to make this work, because I mean, like Jeff said, short of doing that, or if you somehow have Big E, and I think the longer it goes, the more I feel like, you know, we probably will not see Big E again, unless at least not in the ring. Maybe he figures out something else he wants to do with it. But
Maybe he can manage.
yeah, but I mean, outside of very special cases, they don't really do managers even now.
No, I know. But I mean, he's a big mouth to not use that big mouth for more than
And
just pre-show.
that's what I'm saying. He's a great brand ambassador. So you should get him involved in it somehow if he wants to. Because at the end of the day, he may be one of those guys too that's like, you know, if I can't be in there wrestling, then I don't know what else to do with myself, and it's too painful to be around the business if I can't be in there doing what I want to do, what I really want to do.
All right, David, answer this question because we're going to bring Mean Mark Mest on in a second. So, is there anything happening in WWE that that you feel it really isn't getting over with the fans and should be changed or deleted?
Nothing too important. I mean, I kind of agree with what Professor Keith said earlier about maybe cutting down 3 hours to 2 hours and consolidating things a little bit. But other
Yes.
than that, I mean, I think they're going in the right direction. Like I mentioned earlier, maybe it's because of what we were so used to. I mean, once we get it assimilated here to a newer product, there might be more to criticize. But I'm happy with what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I'm with all you guys really. There's not other than I'm with Jeff on the whole Final Testament New Day thing. Like they might as well just scrap that. Other than that, everything's kind of running on all four cylinders. So I'm really interested. I'm interested in Cody and everything going on there. I'm interested in the Bloodline, Roman's back, CM Punk and McIntyre. Like I can't get enough of those guys. So
There's
I mean,
so much left with that.
oh
With
yeah.
those two. Oh my God.
And Liv and Dom and Rhea, and they made Damian Priest interesting. Yes, all that cool stuff. So everything to me is okay. I like Chris's answer here. Do something with the Street Profits. Here's the thing, and I agree with you, Chris. I'm really sick and tired of the Street Profits coming out here looking amazing, having these great matches, and never getting pushed. So whose cereal did they piss in? That's what I want to know.
I don't know if it's pissing in anybody's cereal as much as just sometimes people get lost in the shuffle and they just don't have ideas for them, And I think, unfortunately, they're victims of that, where it's like, we know you're there, we know you're good, we know that when we get something going for you and we get a spot for you, you're going to do what we need you to do, but right now we just don't have a spot for you.
I mean, they made Awesome Truth Tag Team Champions. You telling me that these guys don't deserve a run? I mean, a longer run, I'm saying?
They deserve a run, and I mean, you can get there, but you have money with Awesome Truth right now. You're gonna leave money on the table with Awesome Truth?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Piranha says it's not. It's because Dawkins isn't getting it. Is that true? Is there any truth to that, guys? Do you agree with that?
I don't know. I know that when they put the Profits with Lashley and did the whole Pride thing, I felt like nobody knew whether they wanted those guys to be babies or heels.
Yeah.
And they kept jumping back week to week, and I really feel like that hurt all four of them, BFAB included.
BFAB, yeah.
And I think right now you're working on trying to rebuild the Profits in a way, but the act itself, because they changed so much when they went into the Pride, that coming back to what the Street Profits were with their bread and butter, fans know how to react to them now. I don't know that Dawkins isn't getting it. It's just the same thing he's been doing for a while. Maybe he's just, I don't know, tired of it.
Yeah, maybe. All right, let me get our next panelist on here, guys. And you guys all know him. You all love him. He is the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Triple M himself, Mean Mark Mest. What's up, my man?
What's going on, guys?
He does the Larry Zabisco. There he is.
All right.
How you doing, man? How are you?
Not too bad. How you guys doing today?
We're awesome. And we're so glad to see you because all of us follow you on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So our best to your speedy, healthy recovery and everything that's going on with you. Obviously everybody in this room has been affected by you one way or another in this business. Plus the fact that we love you personally. So I mean, if that means anything.
Oh, it does. It does. I appreciate all you guys. I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it a million times over. I like helping out. I like, sometimes you gotta, like, I look at it this way. Some people still ask me, like, don't you miss getting in the ring? Absolutely. Okay. Do I miss the pain? No. But the thing is, sometimes when you get into different situations, you got to figure out how to make the best of them. And to do that is now I live through my kids and I live to anybody that wants to help me and wants to listen to me, and I'll help them in any way possible. Like you guys, you guys are like a sponge. You take it all in, you take notes, and you just to get yourself better.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing. So
So let me give you this question. I'm not going to ask you all the questions that we already talked about, Mark, but I do want
okay.
your opinion on this one because I know how much of an influence Triple H was on your career in general. So what in your opinion is the biggest differences between Vince McMahon's WWE and Triple H's?
The biggest thing for the boys and the girls, I would say, the biggest thing between them right now is being in a better, relaxing environment for wrestling. And what I mean by
in
that
the
is
locker
business
room
wise,
or
overall, because I'm never going to say anything bad about Vince. Vince, whatever happens, he built his empire, okay? But the trouble is, when you have this guy that's in charge, and if he doesn't like something, okay, boom, he makes them sharp decisions right away and whatnot, and you guys are getting let go because of stuff that they, maybe made a mistake or two, but, they're always on, pins and needles because they're afraid, like, man, if I screw up, I'm fired. Now, I talked to Steve Carino about this a while ago, and like when the merger happened, everything under now with this, it's more of a relaxed atmosphere. They're not worried about getting fired all the time. So for them, it's a sort of calming thing. On okay, we now have legit. If something goes wrong, something happens. It can be a big deal, but as long as it's nothing horrible, it's not a firing offense,
Right.
But the thing is, Triple H, I think, is more compassionate when it comes to, wrestling as much as Vince. Vince, he was the ruler. Where I want happen, and if you don't make it happen, then I'll find somebody and I'll fire you right on the spot. Not so much now because now people have more chance to shine. And you watch, I haven't followed it 100%, so when I try to keep up with it, it seems more that they're having more fun out there. They don't have to worry about things. Yeah, things are still tense because they still got things they got to do, but overall, the atmosphere is very calming for them. So that's a big plus when you're a performer, because who wants to get fired, And if you never had that big moment, like last night, I went down to the NWA show, at the arena. A lot of people, like a production. It's like anything. As you get higher in the ranks, the indies are one thing. When you get higher, when you're doing TV, the stress gets higher and higher. As you get bigger, you go to, you're an NWA, but what if you go to AEW? What if you go to Vince? Or Triple H now? You up there, yes, the stress is there, but it's not that they have to worry about being fired or reprimanded as much because, Triple H is, I think, that whole crew is more lenient than Vince would be.
Yep. So one last
That's
thing
one of the
from you.
big difference.
So one last thing from you, Mark. I would love to have is do you have any constructive criticisms on the job that Triple H is doing? We talked about it earlier.
I mean, from what I've seen, he's doing good. Like I think he's giving the people kind of what they want. I did hear a little bit about, you guys were talking about the Street Profits and Lashley and whatnot, all this, and the Street Profits were over for the longest time. But I think he said it's not. They were talking about splitting and Montana, Ford to go singles and push him. because of but why? I mean, I don't know the real reason why they have kind of like held him down. I think originally when Vince was around, they wanted to use Montel as a singles guy because of the his great ability to to be able to work. I mean, it's not that Dawkins isn't either. He's a good worker, but he's kind of like a, I don't want to say bland. Okay, he doesn't have a lot of where Montel, he does that big rake and splash. He gets up. He's a little more he's got more character in him than the other guy. So I think that has a lot to do with it too. So if you're not on the, and that's why they split up tag teams. If one thing say, hey, we can push this guy into something big, they're going to do that. So, but what's going to happen? I don't know. I haven't followed it a lot, but I've been kind of, trying to keep up with what's going on. But with Triple H, the whole thing, I think like anything, he's under pressure to do well. Yeah. There's people out there hoping that he flops because they don't like him. There's people hoping that he does well. For the people that want him to flop, it's probably personal. For business-wise, you want him to flourish because he's going to produce much more talent, going to need more talent. Look what they're doing. They're going into all these different, they're going to overseas, all these different countries now. They're doing big events over there. What does that mean? More money for guys. You might even need more guys.
Yeah.
Just because of that, they got to keep it fresh because they just can't have the same guys over and over and over and over again. Stories got to change. This guy's got to step up. That guy should step up. I think he's doing a good job. I mean, I think he's doing what he's expected. I don't think he's supposed to. If people think that he should be a miracle worker and just be great.
He's gonna make, he's gonna make mistakes, right? I mean, none of us are perfect. He's gonna make mistakes, and we're gonna criticize him for it. But everybody in this room, the general consensus is he's doing an awesome job, and WWE hasn't been this hot in a while.
I think, with all the shows, the pay-per-views or whatever you would call them, all that stuff, like they're on fire. They're on the public, like they're everywhere. They're on everybody's radar. No matter where you go, you see something with them. So, and that's what you want as a big company. So I think he's doing great too. I mean, but it's like anything, it's just a start. Well, that's what happened. Let's see what happens in another year or 2 or 3.
Right.
Can he keep up the momentum? What's going to change? Because things are going to change. Eventually, you're going to. Cena's going to eventually ride out into the sunset. Orton's going to do the same. So you're going to have top guys that. How long can they last before you need? Punk's there again, but again, how long does he have before it's like, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to slow it back. So all of a sudden, like main guys that were your look at Roman will put Roman stuff back. So I think it's just going to be Triple H just needs to just steady the ship, go to his course, whatever they have figured out, let them go. And you know what? If people are mad, they're mad. If they're not, they're not. But if you're mad, change the channel.
Oh, he's back. And not only is he back, but he's back in the flesh. Okay. Last thing, guys. Our hour's pretty much up. So last thing, guys, I want everybody to go around the room. I'm going to start with Jeff and work my way clockwise. And Keith will be last. And that'll be NXT. No Mercy is tonight, live tonight. I know Keith might not know the card, but my question will be this. Does Joe Hendry win the NXT championship, Jeff?
No.
No. David?
No.
Why not?
Why not? I love it. Mark?
As much as I think it would be great for him, I don't think so.
You doubt it highly.
But I mean, that's the thing too, is his gimmick is off the charts, and Vince,
it's over,
and Triple H seen that. So, he's over.
No way.
So I just think as much as it would be good, people would love it. I just think it's just not time yet.
Love it.
You know?
Professor, say his name and he appears.
Yeah, it's one of those where I think it should be no, because I worry about the too much too fast, right? Like so many
Sure.
people when they're trying to amateur book something, right? Their whole idea is like, okay, Seg 1 come out, challenge, they get their guy and they're like, okay, Seg 1, he comes out, he challenges the champion. Seg 2, he beats the champion's ass, he wins the title. What do we do in Seg 3? He just domination. We like what do you do next? Is always
Right.
what it is, right? And I always feel like if the guy climbs the mountain too quickly, you lose the climb. You lose the story of the climb. And I mean, some guys, yes, it makes sense to bring them out of a shoot and do that, but I think that's so rare. Like that's an Undertaker like character that you have to do something like that with. A guy has to be like a monster to take that kind of moonshot with. And
Right.
Joe Hendry, I feel like, is a guy that you keep him strong. You definitely don't let him look like an idiot.
Right.
In this,
He doesn't take the fall.
Yeah, like maybe we do something where he doesn't have to get pinned or submitted. But yeah, I don't know that I'm ready to do that yet. I am curious, is Piranha saying no way to Joe Hendry winning, or is he referencing his cousin, who I'm pretty sure there has never been a picture of Prince Piranha and No Way Jose in the same place at the same time? I'm not starting conspiracy.
Wow.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay,
Love
Piranha,
you,
if you're
Piranha.
watching, you could, yes. So it's Ethan Page versus, so I'm going to quickly run down the announced No Mercy card. It's Ethan Page defending the NXT Championship against Joe Hendry with Trick Williams as the special guest referee. NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez versus Jada Parker. NXT North American Champion Oba Femi, we talked about him earlier,
Oh boy.
versus Tony D'Angelo. NXT Women's North American Champion Kalani Jordan versus Wendy Chu. And NXT Tag Team Champions Chase U versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom. And Wesley versus Zach Wentz, which should steal the show, I would think. We'll
Yeah,
see.
it's going to be a great card.
Yeah, man.
Sounds like it, yeah.
I got no response from Piranha Keith, so either he's no longer with us on the show, or he has no answer for you, one or the other.
I got too close.
All right, Jeff, one last time, man, before we get out of here, I want you to talk about September 8th, Phantom 6, and September 14th, AXW.
September 8th, Phantom 6 in Bethlehem. Benefits suicide awareness and prevention. Me, Mark, I know you're going to be there. We've texted
awesome.
and talked about this throughout the last few weeks. I'm really excited to be part of something like this. It's going to be my first time doing some Phantom 6 stuff, just like everyone else. Come out and see the TNA Tag Team Champions. Ace Austin, Chris Bay. They're going to be there. Maybe you can get pictures. Maybe you get autographs. I don't know, but they're going to be there.
Love it. And then AXW September 14th, Education and Rebellion in Oryxburg.
Oryxburg, yeah. I'm in a lot of AXW shows. I'm wearing the shirt. I'm repping the brand. I do whatever I can to help them. I'm out there all the time. Come out, see me. It's not far from you guys, right? Come on out. I know. Maybe you got something else going on that day, but let's think about it, okay?
I don't know. September 14th. No, Keith and I are at SWO on September the 21st.
Yeah,
so the 14th is open, man.
Yeah, as long as nothing happens family wise, I've got an open day.
Hey, gates open 4:45. We're gonna start at 5. The Bloodlines, Lance Anoa'i, he's gonna be there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Can I say two things before we go?
Yes, I wanted to say, David Motorman, whatever you want to talk about, floor's yours, buddy.
All right. Well, first I wanted to wish Jeff, guys, success. Can't even speak when I got the chance. A successful show. I mean, as much as I appreciate and love professional wrestling, when it comes down to the fact that it's for a charity, I mean, it even makes it more special.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, I'd like to wish The Wolfman, happy birthday today.
Oh yeah,
Happy
this is
birthday,
Wolfman's
Wolfman.
birthday
He
today.
was supposed to be on this panel, but
He's
I
out.
called him.
He's out.
I texted him, I sent him the link.
He's out celebrating, but I don't know if you guys saw on his Facebook page that Dino Sano actually posted a picture inside the squared circle with Todd Edwards and Jeff Becker when they were all sitting in there.
Yes, old school. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good picture.
Those are the three gentlemen that actually made me feel welcome at my first SWO show and got me hooked on local professional wrestling. So, I mean, that was a great memory. I mean, we all know and love Jeff Becker. I mean, that was a perfect picture. And
we miss him, man. We definitely miss him.
Sharing that.
Yes. Awesome stuff. We'll give the professor the last word. So, Mean Mark, you got anything else to say before we get out of here?
Well, like Jeff said, we're gonna be part of the September 8th. There in Bethlehem. I think that Phantom Signal will be a great show. I think it's a great cause. So I hope I see some people out there. It's gonna be an all-day thing. We'll be there early setting up, and then we're gonna be there most of the day. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Other than that, I hope you guys have the rest of your holiday weekend. I hope it's great, and I look forward to chatting with you guys hopefully in the near future.
We appreciate that you popped on here at all. We know your schedule was busy and you got here,
Yeah,
you got here late, but for those 15, 20 minutes, dude, we got a lot of Mean Mark mess, right, guys? I mean, definitely worth it right there.
It's never enough. It's never enough.
No.
Never enough.
No, you're always welcome here.
I love it, man. All
Well,
right,
I got on the show, so when you guys got an opening, let me know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, will do.
I got to give you more. It's my fault. I got to give you more notice. Jeff says I don't book him, and whatever. But there he just popped off, and then he popped back on. I don't know what happened there. But anyway,
You won't book me.
the internet.
You won't book me.
We will book you. We'll book you upcoming. Okay.
Yeah, you got the
Professor. What your overall thoughts of this entire program in the state of WWE? I thought it was a great conversation.
Yeah, I mean it's always fun talking to all you guys. I love all of you guys. I knew all of you guys before I got in the business. Now I'm in the business, and it's even more fun to have you guys as peers. And everything else, I'm excited to go up. I'll be at Phantom 6 on next Sunday. I do, like I said with Jeff, and like Jeff said too, no idea what I'm doing yet. Just know I'm going to be there. Know I'm going to be available for whatever Dylan needs. I'll touch base with him some point this week and maybe see if he has some ideas. But I'll be there, even if it's just to shake hands and say hi and carry ropes or do whatever, because I love the business. I want to give back to the business in any way I can. It's been good to me, and we've got to be good to it in return. And yeah, it's going to be a great show up there. Come out there. If you're near AXW next Saturday, come out to AXW. Anything, anywhere you are in the country, I guarantee you there is an independent wrestling show going on this next weekend. Usually the highest the ticket goes for is like $20. You got $20. Come on. $20.
September 8th is Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. September 14th is Oryxburg, Pennsylvania. September 21st is Seven Valleys, Pennsylvania. September 28th is 3WA in Quakertown. There is wrestling to be had all month long in September in your area here, guys, in Pennsylvania. Go out and support your local feds. You'll see signs posted around. I mean, there's signs for a Slatington event here soon. I know they're having an event very close to where I live right now in Schuylkill County. So again, there's always wrestling to be had in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, but whatever. Support your local indies, because if we don't do that, then the futures of tomorrow might not have a future. We're talking about WWE. We were talking all about Triple H's WWE, and a lot of those guys, where did they get their start? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a couple of them, a guy named Damian Priest.
September 7th, there it is. There's another one. September, thank you, Piranha. Three Legacies in Lancaster. September 7th. Thank you, Piranha, for that. Another good one. So yes, there's a lot of wrestling to be had in Pennsylvania, guys. and everybody in this room loves it. All right, guys. On a personal
If you're
note, I
not
want to
near
say
Pennsylvania, I challenge you in your state to go find a show. Go find the
On a-
next wrestling show that's near you and get out there.
on a personal note, guys, I want to thank each and every one of you. I mean, the professor, you know how I feel about you, but me, Mark, Jeff, David, your passion for this business is unparalleled, and we're just thrilled to have gotten to know all of you. And you guys are always welcome here. You always have a home with us here on Around the Turnbuckle at any time, Jeff, whether you believe it or not. And so,
Thank you.
I hope everybody has a good rest of their Labor Day weekend. I also hope that, if you get a chance, watch some NXT tonight. NXT No Mercy is live on Peacock at 8 p.m. Great matches, great line of matches up there. And, I'm going to go on a limb and say Joe Hendry does not win the championship tonight. Ethan Page retains somehow. I don't know how, but we're going to see.
I
Maybe a
almost
trick.
want Joe to win
Maybe,
because I want to see him be wrong.
maybe a Trick Williams heel turn.
Now.
Maybe
somebody said, why not?
maybe a Trick Williams heel turn, which starts a thing between Joe Hendry and Trick Williams. That would be my way out. But anyway, thank you guys so much for not only your passion for this business, but also your knowledge of this business, because all these opinions today were not just like out of left field. Fans, you guys are very knowledgeable one way or another in this business, and I appreciate each and every one of you. David, I appreciate your unwilting, I should say, support for Around the Turnbuckle. I really appreciate it. And Mark, Jeff, we love you guys, and we wish you nothing but the best with everything that you got going on, both personally and professionally. Jeff, it's great to see you happy again, brother. That smile on your face is worth it right there, man. Mark, all the best, my friend. All the best, my friend. We're all praying for you. We're all thinking about you constantly. The Godfather, ladies and gentlemen. I think he needs a standing ovation right there. That's the Godfather. There he is. All right, guys. We are out of time here on Around the Turnbuckle. Professor, next week on Around the Turnbuckle, we will see
Kai Thomas,
the 3WA High Impact Champion, young Kai Thomas, and see
one of my favorites to watch. I have been enjoying the crap out of watching him develop.
Unbelievable. He's been on a roll, quite a roll. I would put him up there for a chance at Rookie of the Year in 2024. But man, Professor and I have been thrilled to call a lot of his matches. But he's also been expanding. It's not just 3WA. He's also been expanding in other feds. So it's neat to see that too. And also he's been tag teaming also with his father in other feds as well. So that's great to see. We'll talk to Kai next Sunday on this channel, guys. If you are watching this for the first time, please like, subscribe, share, all that cool stuff.
Especially subscribe.
It keeps us going, man.
We're all for the notifications.
We are, yes. Hit that bell for the notifications for when we go live, because it's not always every Sunday. Sometimes we go live randomly. You never know. See you next week. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you, Piranha. Thank you, Piranha, and thank you, David, Hill, and everybody else who was tuning in and watching us live. Thank you, me, Mark, for popping in at the last minute. We love you. And everybody else. Guys, that's it for this week on Around the Turnbuckle. We'll see you next week with High Impact Champion Kai Thomas. State of WWE is it's doing pretty damn good, I think, right?
Strong. Yeah. Very strong.
Very strong. Love it, man. NXT tonight at 8 o'clock on the Peacock. In the meantime, for Jeff Christian, David Motorman, Mean Mark Mest, and the Professor, I'm Big Al. This was Around the Turnbuckle. See you then.
You think you know me?